Hello, good afternoon. This is Malar from Hearts&Minds Development Center. So, thank you for joining us in Being Whole, Being Me series 86. It is the month of February, and a lot of us, a lot of you might still be celebrating Valentine's Day. And you must be wondering why we're talking about affairs when it's Valentine's Day, when we're supposed to talk about love. Well, I came across Vincent Su's post on LinkedIn and I thought his work was very fascinating. Of course, everybody will know that I love work around healing. And, just like our series, Being Whole, Being Me, to be a whole person, we need to look at maybe the cracks. And this time we're going to talk about cracks in relationship because these relationships are important. They mean a lot to us, and we want to make sure it works. So, without further ado, as you've seen, let's bring in Vincent Su and gain his wisdom, right, to really understand, is our relationship affair proof? So, let's bring Vincent Su on. Hi, Vincent.
Hello, hi, Mala.
Hi. Thank you for saying yes. And I think it is a very interesting topic for us to explore in the month
Mm,
of Valentine's, right? So thank you for saying yes. I actually like your the way you define your role as relationship architect. So tell us a little bit about what do you mean by relationship architect and what do you do?
okay, yeah, basically, I mean, you know that the meaning of this architect, right? Yeah, it's basically to design a blueprint and then build and maintain the house. Yeah, building a house. Yeah, so relationship architect is basically focused on designing a foolproof or, okay, and in terms of the blueprint, yeah, and also in terms of helping the couples to develop or build their relationship and maintain their relationship.
So I'm just going to play the devil's advocate today, right? And
Yes.
we'll still be online friends. Are you saying that relationships are not natural?
Sorry, not natural.
Not natural, because I think one idea that we all entertain is that relationships are supposed to be natural. When I meet someone,
Mm-mm,
I fall in love, and love is forever. You're my soulmate.
mm,
And of course, in the beginning of the relationship, we see all the great things about this person for us to commit to a long-term relationship, right? So I'm committing to a long-term relationship. Why do
yeah.
I need an architect for it? Are you saying that I now have to think about it, work on it? I thought we are soulmates. I think I'm in love and things are working and I'm in a long-term commitment. Isn't love enough? Why do we need an architect?
Mm-mm. I mean, a lot of us who involved in relationship or marriage know that, yeah, relationship is not just about love, yeah. And what if love kind of faded? What will happen? Yeah. And then, in terms of course, love is nature and nurture, yeah. And before in love, very kind of in a very natural kind of states, yeah. And then when we going to maintain a relationship is not easy, yeah. And a lot of couples that I see, whether dating couples or marriage couples, when they come to a stage of they say, hey, what happened if I don't seem to love my spouse, yeah. Then what they're going to do, they're going to break, yeah, or they're going to divorce. And of course the nurture part is very important, yeah, as where they need to know that they have a vision, share the same visions to live together, yeah, as a couple. Hmm. And then to build their relationship or marriage, and
Thank
that's
you.
take a lot of efforts. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you. So you're giving us things that we've, well, probably haven't entertained before, because when we get into committed relationship, at least marriage, we think love is forever, and you're telling me love is not there forever. So help us, as a relationship architect, first define love for us. What is love, and help
Mm-mm.
us understand nature and nurture of love.
Mm-mm. Okay. Basically, a lot of us we think that love is just based on feeling. Yeah. But it's more than just feeling. It's also a commitment, it's a choice. Yeah, it's an action, it's a verb. Yeah. So other than loving each other, kind of, yeah, I love you, you love me, but there must be certain actions to be said. Yeah, instead of just saying that I love you. Yeah, there must be certain actions that taken place to show that you love the person or the person love you.
And in your, so I suppose when we are new in a relationship, when we so-called fall in love,
Mm,
the natural side of the feeling, right? With
mm,
all the chemical reaction in our body, the hormones, oxytocin being
yeah.
created, it's easy to feel love viscerally in your body, and you follow the wisdom of your body to say, I'm so attracted, I'm so in love that, I can't see anything wrong with it. So I understand that part. Uh,
Mm,
Now, but usually when you have a lot of this oxytocin in your body, your action is also quite easy. It's easy to look at what this person wants. It's so easy to listen to the needs of the person you
mm,
love
mm,
and meet it. It seems to have a natural flow, right?
mm, mm,
And then somewhere along the line in the relationship, it fades off. It
mm,
fades off, we fall out of love. So what happens? So in your experience, what and
mm,
how do we know that love is fading away?
mm,
Because I
okay.
suppose, I don't know, would it be right for me to say the feeling is fading away, and because sometimes we get into so much of committed action of what relationship requires, paying the bills, talking,
Mm,
having conversations, that doesn't nurture love but nurtures commitment, right?
mm,
So
yeah.
tell us what happens and how to identify that, okay?
Okay. Okay, even normal state, right? When a couple coming together, they fall in love. There's this honeymoon kind of period, yeah, and everything they see, with each other is all good, yeah. And but when it come into a later stage of, at the later stage of their relationship, okay, they just realize that, hey, we come back to the reality of life, yeah. And especially for those couples that got married, they have discussed about the weddings, yeah, and they have the ceremony, they pay the bill, a lot of money spent on the wedding ceremony, and after that they realize that, hey, when they come to form a family or buying a house, these are all the things that they need to face every day, yeah. And sometimes, of course, disagreement, different point of views, yeah, and the way they handle things is different. And then there's where the certain times the quarrel, yeah, they have quarrel in between, and also they have discussions about certain things they don't see eye to eye. Yeah. And that's there where this problem is. Okay, normally what, because if you look at it, to know each other, how long do you think that you need to know each other before you commit a relationship? Mala, what do you think?
I'm at this stage in my life, I feel, I personally really, I personally think I can't conclude, because I think what we get is, so my personal experience right now at this moment is that we can only know people in the pockets of window we share experiences. So what
Mm,
I have realized is that, so if I'm when I spend time with somebody in any form of relationship, right, not just romantic relationship. So even
mm,
if with my husband, what I thought I knew about him, that's not everything about him. And it's not that he's acting or what. So what happens is that the more you have a shared journey, the more you
mm,
discover about that person. And you must also be, I realize that I must also be in a space to be able to process that experience, right?
mm,
And my own experience of processing an event would be very different from my partner, my husband, because we are two different people with two different background. And then a lot of times we begin to discover our identity through these windows of
mm, mm,
experience, and also our values, right? And if
mm,
there are major conflict in values, it's difficult, and you don't
mm,
realize these unless you know yourself well, right? Because how many of us get into a relationship at a point, especially earlier in our life, where we have understood what our values are, we're discovering, we're learning about ourselves. And I think in a relationship, if you get committed early, you need to be in
mm,
a space to grow together with that uncertainty, knowing that we're going to reconcile? I know that was a long answer, but that's where I am now. If you had asked me maybe,
Mm.
I don't know, 10 years ago, I would have had a more romantic answer, I think. But anyway.
Yeah. Mm-mm. Yeah. I mean, in a marriage for 26 years, yeah, we just celebrate our wedding anniversary last
Mhm.
December. Yeah. And
Nice.
so when we work with the couples, I mean, like for my own experience, okay, own experience of in this marriage, for the first few years, we thought that, wow, I mean, yeah, happy. I mean, after marriage, well, life will be better, will be good. Yeah. I mean, two-person together. But come to see on it, like first few years is a very important. And I would say that, I mean, being authentic towards, I mean, myself and to the audience, yeah, we quarrel a lot. Yeah.
Mm.
And because we thought that, oh, I mean, we just love each other is just enough. But there are a lot of things that we need to discuss and we have certain disagreement. Yeah.
Mm.
And plus, my wife has traits of OCD,
Okay.
traits of OCD, and I have traits of ADHD. Can you
Oh,
imagine ADHD and OCD coming together? Wow, can be quite a struggle. Yeah. And but
can
we
be
work through things
exciting too,
because,
right?
sorry?
Can be exciting too.
Exciting. Yeah, it's an exciting journey.
Mm.
Yeah. And of course, in terms of just like you mentioned something, yes, we need to be authentic towards ourselves. We need to know ourselves, yeah,
Mm.
love ourselves, and then we need to take responsibility to grow ourselves. Yeah. I
Mm.
believe that, I mean, this saying, authentic self, authentic relationship.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Mm-mm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, if you talk about this whole thing of this relationship marriage, love is actually love fading away or because of all these real life situations that we are facing, that we distance ourselves, yeah, from our partners,
Help me understand more.
challenges, quarrel, mm,
Right.
yeah, that we
So,
distance
so,
ourselves from our partner.
okay. So and so when we talk about love, I mean, so when you introduced love, and how it's fading, you are mentioning real life experiences, right? So for me, I can tell you, my husband and I hardly quarrel, and I think that's the problem. Right? I think for you, you were quarreling. For me, we were not quarreling, because when I want to have a fight, I want to quarrel. My husband doesn't want to have a quarrel with me, and that kills me. And anyone who want to kill me, just don't talk to me, okay? I'm putting it out in public. So my husband doesn't quarrel, right? Again, because we are the right opposites, right? So I didn't have the quarreling issue. I had the issue of not having closures and not quarreling, and I feel like I had a slow death until I read the book called Personality Plus. It saved me for a bit, or maybe it saved my husband for a bit before I would kill him, right? But yeah, so I think they are different things that come. But what I'm interested in is that when you talk about the practicality of life, where we probably slowly get into being, I don't know, handling real life issues. Tell us a little bit more about how do you see couples who come together all in good faith
Mm,
and in love, right? Slowly
mm,
being adjourned to the practical agenda of life and how that brings us apart.
okay. I mean, if when you look at the journey of relationship, yeah, I mean, there is a different stage.
Mm,
Of course, first we come and fall in love, yeah, and madly in love, yeah, that is one stage, first stage, yeah,
mm,
right? And then when it comes to the second stage, what will happen is then they get to know that their real life, I mean, the real self. Because a lot of times that I find that when couples come into relationship, right, they want to present their best, yeah, their best self,
mm,
yeah. But knowing that we have our so-called the real self, yeah, and sometimes that husband and wife they will say that, hey, how come the person changed? How come my wife changed? How come my husband changed?
mm,
Actually, they didn't change. They just showing the real self. Yeah, most of the time. Yeah. So in terms of the expectation for each other, is very important as well. Yeah. And of course, we have our belief system, we have our value systems, you know, and of course, we have our expectation as well, our needs.
mm,
Mm. And
Nice.
in coming to a relationship, right? Okay, the different stages, of course, then when you get to the practical side of it, is we need to work, we need to take care of our family if we have our own families. Yeah.
Mm.
And we need to, if let's say those who have children, we need to take care of the children. And
Mm.
that is the different phases. And when all these challenges, the stress level going up, yeah, sometimes it will affect the relationship.
Mm. 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 And so that leads into right into our topic of, is your relationship affair proof, right? So tell us
Mm,
very quickly, how did you, because I know you started off in emotional intelligence, in the journey of emotional intelligence, right? Now,
mm,
what got you interested in working with relationships, specifically affairs? So what was that pull for you?
mm. I have been a counselor working in a family service centers for years. I started out working with youth and
Okay.
family parenting, yeah, and then later on, and as I see more and more couples, and that's where I realized that, okay, I want to focus on the relationship part of it,
Mm.
because I mean, based on my own experience, yeah, I could share, my knowledge and my expertise with the couples. Yeah. And when it comes to the how I comes to working with couples with, I mean, having affair, I realized that in fact, for since the COVID time, there is an increase in the number of affairs, yeah, clients with affairs.
COVID.
COVID, yeah, when it
But I
started the
thought
COVID.
during the
Yeah,
COVID we were in a lockdown. How did we manage to have an affair in a lockdown?
okay. Oh,
Like,
I mean, yeah, a lot of people will say that, COVID, I thought could be
yeah, it's
better, right?
lockdown, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
But because it is
yeah.
lockdown, we are seeking company.
It's okay.
So, okay, tell us, okay,
Mm-mm.
maybe we need to define affair first, then maybe we'll come back to this question. So, how do you
Uh,
define an affair? As a relationship architect, how do we
okay.
define an
Mm.
affair? And then we'll go into
Basically,
COVID.
affair is just COVID, yeah, they're interested in the COVID part. To put it simple, an affair is a sexual or a emotional kind of relationship other than your spouse or your partners. Yeah.
Mm.
Mm-mm.
So,
So
the
in
meaning
terms of the,
as, mm.
mm,
So
yeah,
what you're
yes,
saying is that if I'm in a committed relationship and I'm having another similar committed relationship, in this case, a romantic relationship, then it is an affair.
mm,
All right. And
yes,
how many types
yeah.
of affair are there? I think you mentioned types of affairs, right?
Well, okay, basically there are four types. Okay,
Four.
one
Okay.
is the
Mm,
emotional affair,
mm,
physical affair,
mm,
yeah, mix. That means emotional and physical. And
mm.
now because of all this online stuff, I mean, there's this online affairs.
Oh,
So
okay.
basically, these are the four types.
Okay. And tell us,
Of course, we know that emotional affair. Mm.
okay, tell me. I
Yes,
was
I
going to
mean,
ask
you
you
want
that
me to
question.
elaborate a bit on? Yeah.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Okay, basically, if you talk about emotional affair, right, it's a kind of emotional connection with someone other than their
Mm,
partners or spouse.
mm,
Yeah, so they have
mm,
this emotional connection.
mm.
So that's basically we call it the emotion.
So tell
Mm.
me, I want to deal with, because I think if it comes to physical affair, it's pretty clear. It's physical. You are having a physical
Yes.
relationship, right? Straightforward.
Mm.
And it sounds like it is getting into the boundaries of what is only allowed in marriage, which is a physical sexual relationship. So that's clear, right? But
Mm. Mm.
emotional, right? So
Mm.
tell us a little bit about when you say it's an emotional affair. How do you define an emotional affair? Because in the world where we're going out, we're connecting with a lot of people of opposite
Mm.
gender or not, and we will get
Yes.
attracted, and we can connect deeply with people, because there are some things that I might not be able to actually have a conversation with my husband, and I'm deeply connecting with another person who happens to be opposite sex, right? And that's how we sort of inch in and out
Mm.
of boundaries, right? So help us understand the bit on the emotions that we get attracted to.
Mm. Mm. Of course,
Mm,
most of the time it started with just a very casual kind of friendship or
okay.
co-workers. Yeah.
Okay.
And when they come to the emotional affair, it involves in sharing of the deepest thoughts, more intimate thoughts and emotions. And sometimes they will talk about, maybe complain about their spouse,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and share about all these secrets with someone else, yeah, which is not their partners, like other than their partners. Mm.
Okay.
And once they share, okay, because when I would say that most of the women's, okay, they will start off with these emotional affairs.
Mm,
Okay, not all, most.
mm.
Yeah. Why do you think? Why do you think so that women will more move going into emotional affairs than physical affairs? What do you think?
No, I have nothing to think. I can tell you, right? For me, emotions are important, right? Because uh,
Yes.
right, I mean, without I mean, that's for me lah, right? Like and if my emotional needs are not met within any relationship, right, I'm
Mm,
not interested in the relationship, because I am interested in emotional connection, and physical is
mm,
an expression of my emotional expression of love for anybody, right? So
yes.
even with my children, if I'm not able to connect, if I don't feel an emotional connection, I don't even think there's a relationship. I mean, that's for me. I don't know whether all women are like me. There are a lot of practical women too, and I would like to be like them. But tell us, right? In your experience, what
Mm,
do women typically seek in friendships, which then becomes an emotional affair?
mm, mm. Okay. You mean the friendships
Yeah,
with other guys? Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. For example, right? Maybe based on my experience working with women who had affair, yeah,
Mm-hmm,
and they do not get the attentions from their husbands, yeah,
mm-hmm,
and they feel neglected, feel unappreciated.
mm, mm,
And then they somehow with these co-colleagues or friends, a mere, yeah,
mm,
colleagues or a mere friends, and then when they start to talk about certain things, they share the similarities, sometimes
mm,
maybe even hobbies, yeah,
mm,
and they get into the same hobbies like going together,
mm,
participating in certain, I mean, activities,
mm.
and they start to talk about their feelings.
Sure.
Mm. Yeah, and when they start to talk about their feelings, sometimes they might share certain things about their relationship with their spouse.
Mm, mm,
Mm. So
mm.
when
In
they
any case,
share
that
this,
happens. Yeah.
yeah, this there is where this all the emotional connections
Nice,
come.
nice.
Mm.
So I want to throw you a quick. So I'm not feeling emotionally fulfilled with my husband. Let's say my husband doesn't want to listen to me, and
Mm.
let's assume I can't sort it out. Ideal will be I know what my emotional needs are. I tell my husband, and we wish all men know how to listen and respond, right? And not all men listen and respond. Well, I don't even know whether most men listen, but never
Mm.
mind. Right? So I tell my husband, you need to pay attention to me. Yeah, we can say all of that. Women say all of that. It's all over the social
Mm.
media. We say it so loudly, right? But somehow or other, not all men have the ability to listen. But let's park that frustration aside. So
Mm.
my husband is not listening to me, and I have this big vacuum in my heart. Of course, I can go and share it with a girlfriend, right? But the attention a girlfriend gives me, maybe not maybe, is definitely different. If you stay in the girlfriend ground, and if you're straight, it's you stay away from the affair, right? I might also discover I like girls, and now if I know I have a vacuum, I have an emotional need, right? Because Neha Sony is
Mm.
telling us a lot of things. Neha, I'll come to your comments. Very good comments coming. What's your advice as a relationship architect for women who have emotional needs that may not be fulfilled by a partner for whatever reason? We're not trying to
Mm.
fix that. How do I then stay away from an emotional affair? What can I do?
Mm. Mm. Of course, the best thing is talk to your husband. Yeah, if possible. And you know that sometimes men doesn't
Short,
get it.
easy lah. Assuming my husband don't listen now, let's go to
Okay.
plan B. Because
Okay. Plan
my
B.
husband will
Okay.
listen, I come and see you, okay?
Yeah. And then
Okay.
of course, you can find some females friends, close friends,
Okay.
to talk
Okay.
about it. Yeah.
Okay.
And if you can't, maybe one of your family members, because sometimes they can go to their family members, either a siblings
Mm-hmm.
or a parents.
Mm.
Yeah. And if let's say they're not able to do that, then of course come to me. Yeah.
And so when I come to you, let's talk about your role here. So I
Yeah.
come to you because I'm trying to avoid the attention need that I have, which is
Mm.
fulfilled by a male, right? In this case, we're talking about male-female relationship as an example, right? Right. And
Mm.
so I feel that, okay, my husband is not listening to me. My family, of course, will not listen to me, because my family would probably say, you're a woman, hang in there, this is your duty, coming from a traditional background. Nobody understands me. Now I find
Mm.
Vincent, right? I say, Vincent, I have this problem. I'm so attracted to my friend, and I know that this is not right, but I feel it. I feel so lonely.
Mm.
And so, how would you help
Mm. Okay. Normally, of course, is to address the emotions. What kind of, if you say about loneliness,
me?
yeah, and then how are you going to use the self care? Normally, what I told the women, okay, because they need to take care of themselves, know
Right.
themselves, to understand themselves about their feelings, about their
Mm-hmm.
thoughts,
Mm,
and also
mm,
to love themselves.
mm,
If
mm.
you come to say that, I mean, nobody can actually fulfill the emotional needs of ours.
Accept yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
Nice.
Yes, our spouse, yes, to a certain extent. Yeah. But we need to love ourselves. I mean, that is very important. I always emphasize on self love
Nice.
when to come to couple work. Yeah. They may
Nice.
be the couple working, I mean, together, but they are an individual as well.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm. So, what I'm
And I
hearing
have
from you,
this, yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
mm, Know yourself, love yourself, and grow yourself. That's very important. Know
Know
yourself,
yourself,
love yourself,
not choose
and grow
yourself, okay?
yourself.
Grow yourself. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
this
be
is my
a
model
full
of this
person,
authentic.
right? What I'm hearing is that you become a whole person so that your partner is hopefully also a whole person. If I am not whole, that means if I don't feel like a whole person, I have cracks and I have broken parts, then what I'm going to
Mm.
do is I'm going to seek fulfillment, thinking that this person is going to make me feel whole. And what you're saying is that in any form of relationship, self love, being a whole person on your own, is really important to have healthy relationship, is what I'm hearing.
Yes,
Nice.
have a
Nice.
healthy relationship with yourself first.
Nice. I'm just going to read Neha's comment before we go and understand what men are looking for in affairs. We know women are looking for emotions, but Neha says women are more prone to negative emotion than men. Is that true, Vincent, for you?
I don't really agree 100%. I mean, their men's are really having all these emotions, and
Yeah.
I would not want to put it as emotions is that's positive or negative. Emotion is just an emotions.
Thank you.
Yeah, and sometimes we have these high emotions and then these low emotions. Yeah. Mm-mm.
Right. Thank you, thank you. Well, I'm just going to respond to Neha. Maybe we should get together, me, you, and Vincent, and have a conversation around it. The latest bit I have read about whatever that's considered a negative emotion or labeled as negative emotion is listen to Stephen Porges. He talks about polyvagal theory, and he talks about where it comes from. He says it comes from your fight, flight, and freeze system. So it comes from our autonomic nervous system. So that's something we can talk about. And I think it's really interesting because we're labeling women to be more negative. And as a woman, I will not agree. Anyway, emotional, and I love all the things that you're putting on, Neha. Emotional fulfillment that women don't find in their relationship, they seek it outside. I'm not too sure whether it's a women thing, but I think maybe it's more important for women. But let's see. And she's brought in another very important thing: past unresolved trauma from previous relationship can come up if it's an unconscious relationship. And I'm very sure Vincent would agree with you. Hopefully, your husband is your best friend. Oftentimes, that's not the cause. Well, the fact that 60% of people are getting into affairs tells you your husband or your wife is not your best friend.
Mm.
Okay, well, anyway, to be fair, I don't think all relationships, actually, marriages actually starts off. People don't get married to their best friends, right? There are also a lot of practical marriages,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and if you wait for your best friend to come or soulmate to come, some of us will, might not ever get married like some people, right? And Neha is saying, know yourself, love yourself, grow yourself. And she said that would be amazing. Neha, I'm assuming that you're saying getting together is going to be amazing. I will connect with you, and yes, let's get together. Now, I am moving this fast because it's 12:35 and we haven't sorted out the men. So women seek attention outside when they have their emotional needs unfulfilled, and when they get it from someone who is of the opposite sex, it can turn out into a deeper connection and attraction and then affair. Now tell me, what do men want?
Mm. What about men?
Yes, because you're a man. So represent the man now, Vincent.
Okay. Men also, I mean, they have their own emotional needs. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not just women have emotional needs, men to have. Yeah. And of course, men need to be respected,
Okay.
and men also need to be loved, to be cared for. Yeah. And
Okay.
where they cannot find in their relationships, of course, then what will happen is when another woman come in,
Mm,
yeah, and they start to talk about it, and they feel that, wow, I mean, I can connect with this woman. I mean, the women know me well enough. Yeah, hear
mm,
me out, listen to me, yeah,
mm,
and talk to me, understand me, and that's
mm,
where this boundary, yeah, then it's out of the boundary, and
mm.
that's where affairs will take place.
Sure.
Mm-mm.
Help me
Yeah,
understand from
and
a
of course,
man's
mm,
perspective. Sorry, from a man's perspective, can you help us understand how does respect look like? How does care
mm-mm,
look?
mm-mm. Okay, I mean, if you talk about respect, it can be men and women, but when you talk
Yeah.
about men to have the respect, yeah,
Mm,
and they need their views to be heard.
mm,
That means when they talk about certain things,
mm,
okay, sometimes they will feel that the wife, yeah, their spouse get
mm,
defensive,
mm,
okay, and some even feel that they have been shook back,
mm. I
yeah,
hope my
and then
husband
they
is not
just,
listening now.
yeah, and then they just shut down, keep
Right.
quiet, avoid,
Mm,
yeah, and
mm,
that's where this problem come. And normally when it comes to this stage of the stonewalling,
mm-hmm,
that means they really close up, they don't talk.
mm,
Yeah. And then while they go out and then maybe they met someone, colleagues or friends, and when they just try out to talk to another person, another woman, and then this woman seems to be understanding and decent and maybe sayang a bit, yeah. And then there's this little bit of emotions come in,
sure.
yeah, and then it becomes going big or become an affair.
Actually, for me, it sounds like men and women want the same thing in different forms, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see reasons, like, even though you said, oh, women are looking for emotional need, but if you, as a man, if you want to be respected, you want to be kept, that's also an emotional need, right? And I liked the example also, Neha saying, I hear a lot from a lot of men, they need to feel appreciated in relationship, right? So
Yes.
I want to just talk, or take this to a sideline question, right? You see, you say, okay, men want to be listened to, right? We know women have, well, double the vocabulary that we need to speak in a day, right? And men speak less. I mean, let's right. So, and when men speak, the little that they speak, and when they don't get an opportunity, because what I'm hearing is a typical male female complaint, right? Women are always complaining. I'm generalizing. Women complain that men don't want to talk, don't want to listen, don't want to express. Generalizing. And uh,
Mm-hmm.
women are known to talk too much, nag, and say the same old thing over and over again. On one hand. On the other hand, now what you're saying is that men don't feel respected because when they talk, we are defensive. So I'm trying to figure out, right? I might just be expressing what I agree or disagree, because that's part of being an equal for me. how does that come out
mm,
as a disrespect for the men? Help us understand that. One, because we are also
mm,
talking about things, and the power has also changed, right? Because in the past
yes.
it was so easy to respect a man because he was looking after me, but today I am able to look after myself, and I'm looking for
Mm,
equity in a different way, right? So
mm,
help us make sense
yeah.
out of
Mm, okay. Yes, I agree with you that women now they have this equal power. Yeah. And there's these power struggles. Last time, most of the time, I mean back then, okay, most of the women they are homemakers, but it's not true now. Yeah. And women are independent as well. Yeah. And some of the women earning more than the guys, their husbands. Yeah, it's a true fact. Mm, okay. And of course, if you talk about this respecting, okay, sometimes for a guys, what the guys want is when they want to open up their mouth, it takes a lot of courage, a lot of efforts to talk. Mm-mm. And sometimes for their spouse, maybe, okay, they were eager to reply, okay, and based on what they are processing, women can process very fast. Do you agree or not? Women can most
I
of the
mean,
women they can.
if you're trying to say we are smarter, I agree, yes.
Yeah, they can process fast. Yeah, and then when they say certain things, yeah, and men's it take a longer times. I mean,
Slower
I'm
lah.
not saying all men's. Most of men will take a longer times to
Okay.
process through. And then when they start, then it sounds like certain times it's their perceptions that, oh, when I want to say certain things, I mean, you get defensive, and then you talk back to me.
Mm,
Yeah, and sometimes it's the tone of voice. It's the tone of voice as well play a
mm.
part. Yeah, and then when the guys feel that, okay, their wife is feeling kind of a defensive mode, and they will just close their door.
Sure.
Yeah, and yes, men sometimes feel unappreciated.
Mm.
Yeah, okay, I would say most of the time, sometimes,
No, no, so
okay, because it's
tell me, how do we? So tell me, based on your experience, what
mm,
how do men or husbands want to be appreciated? How do we show the appreciation? Right?
okay, good. Yeah,
Give us
good
an
questions.
example of
Yeah.
what makes a man feel he's appreciated.
Okay. Yeah. You heard of these five love languages?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, depends on the love language. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's both sides. I mean, husband and wife, men and women. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When the men, okay, feel like, okay, maybe most of the men, I would say that they are more physical. Yeah. Their love language is physical touch.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm. Yeah. And even to say certain things, okay, just like a hug, and even say a word of thank you to their husband, they will feel appreciated.
I'm
Yeah.
going to
And
challenge
some
you.
of the guys,
Sorry, Vincent, I'm going to
mm,
challenge you on this
yes,
because the
yes,
common complaint we hear, and women, if you're out there, women don't have a problem with physical touch with the husband, hugs and kisses and whatever, not right. But for men, it seems to be physical means, it's just sex. But generally, if you look, women are the ones who are complaining that they are not getting enough of that physical affection from men, generally speaking.
mm, mm,
No? And what you're
mm,
telling me is the opposite, right? So yeah, we know the love language. We can go into that, but I'm trying to understand because I think on one hand, you're saying that men want to be appreciated. They want women to initiate physical appreciation, is what I'm
mm,
hearing from you. Yeah,
mm,
I
mm.
agree. But it seems to me, and tell me if I'm wrong, that's what women are shouting about all the time. I want to be appreciated, and give me the hugs, give me the kisses, be romantic with me. So actually, where where is the miscommunication? Because we seem to want the same thing, no?
Yes, yeah. In fact, men and women they want the same thing. They
Mm-hmm.
want to be emotionally and physical connected with each other.
Okay.
Yeah, and sometimes men don't say it. Yeah,
Why?
they want certain things, but they don't want to say it.
Yeah, why? Why?
Why?
I mean,
Okay.
I'm
Be-
gonna just really challenge you. I know it's becoming like a male female thing, but I'm going to ask you, right? Because every time we attend talks, every time we hear people say, it is always the women who have to make the changes, who have to make the adjustments. I'm not saying men are not making it. Maybe they're making it quietly. I've got great male friends and I know how wonderful they are. So I'm not assuming anything about men, right? But
Mm,
whenever so like for example, right?
mm,
Men want to be physically appreciated. Fine. Why can't you tell us, right? Women are talking too much. Okay, I agree. Why can't you learn how to talk more too? Why is it forever women are the ones who have to adjust themselves?
yeah. And men sometimes they don't share their needs. That's the problem. Yeah. And why they don't share their needs? Sometimes they feel that it's very vulnerable. Yeah. To share my
And so,
weakness. That means if I need something, yeah,
okay,
I'm like a weakest side of me, showing my weakest part of me.
okay, I get that.
Yeah,
So
that's one
tell us,
thing.
right, when so assuming couples don't get to come to you, I suppose when couples come to you, you help the couples to look at each other's emotional need and figure out ways to meet it in the way they need it, right? Now, but if I'm listening to
Mm,
you
yes.
now, and I understand all of this as a male and a female, right? What do you think an act
Mm,
that I can take to go to my partner and make it work? What is the immediate action we can take as individuals to make our relationship work?
mm, mm,
Give us an
okay.
advice for the men
And
and for the
most
women. So,
important,
mm,
yes. Okay. Share about your own feelings.
mhm,
Okay. Like maybe women's right, you can say that I feel frustrated when
mm,
when you're not kind of talking to me, yeah,
mhm.
and make a request.
Okay.
Yeah. I need a hug from you. I need you to talk to me.
Mm, okay.
So using the I statements, yeah. And a lot of times, sometimes when because I like to listen to how couples kind of they relate to each other, I'm just sitting down there and watching both of them talk.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm,
And the
mm.
first thing is you. Oh,
Ah,
both of them are
you
finger
do this,
pointing at
you
each
don't
other.
do this, you do this, you don't do this, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm,
All right.
yeah. I mean, they are
So
finger pointing at each other,
nice, nice.
which
In
is not
fact, I
helpful.
think what you're saying is that know what you want, express what you want, and ask for the action. Ask the
Yes.
other person for the action that you need to fulfill your needs from this particular relationship, is what I
Yes.
am actually hearing. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm just going to
Mm,
read what Neha has said. Neha says, relationship has become battlegrounds, sadly. Power struggle, like Vincent said, agreed. And she also says, and I think this is really powerful. Vulnerability takes courage to be open with each other. Now, just writing on this before we go into some really quick, rapid questions, right? What are men afraid of when it comes to being vulnerable? I think you did mention weak, feeling weak. And I suppose that's because men for years had to be the strong one. It's not easy for men to do it. I think it's a new thing, right?
yeah.
So beyond that, is there anything else that you think we can do to help our men to feel courageous to be vulnerable with us? What can we do as women?
Mm-mm. Okay. Maybe I will give you one example that recently I worked with one of these couple, the guy.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay. And he was, I mean, as a child, he have learned, okay, to be self-sustained.
Right.
And that means big boy don't cry.
Mm,
Okay, you cry means that you are weak.
right.
He was taught in this kind of environment, okay, the culture of these parents, yeah. And sadly to say that because of that, right, he don't show his weaker sides to his wife.
Right.
Yeah. And when my first session with him, okay, he broke down. He really broke down like a
Mm,
little boy.
mm,
And when he said something, okay, maybe I read to you, okay. My first session with Vincent worked wonders to my mental states. being in a vulnerable positions, I told myself to be more authentic version of myself coming into this. I was amazed of how much better I feel after the first sessions. Okay. Yeah. And because he have experienced kind of trauma back then, trauma, childhood trauma.
Mm.
Okay. And then when he start to open up to his wife, because mean guys, sometimes it's because of the ego. We don't talk about our weaknesses because
Mm.
we're afraid that how people judge us, especially our loved one.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes. And if you're going to open up, yeah, it takes a lot of courage to say it out.
Yeah. What can I do if I, because I think for men, it's probably going to take another 1 or 2 generation to get used to it. We've just started the revolution for the men to be vulnerable, right? Because there's so many generations of programming of what it means to be a man and to be strong, right? And vulnerability and openness with your
Mm-mm.
emotion is not one we have allowed men to do in the generations, to be fair to men. We've not done that to them, right? Now, for men who are in that space and who want to do that, how can women support it better? How can I encourage my men to say it is okay for you um, to be vulnerable? How do I encourage it?
Mm-mm. Okay. Well, first is listen. Okay.
Okay.
There's this. Okay. Maybe I will give you all these 4 words. Okay. I like acronyms. Okay. LOVE.
Mm-hmm.
Love.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
First, L
Listen.
stand for listen.
Okay.
What are you listening? Listen when your man start to talk a bit. Okay. Don't be too quick to kind of yeah
Right.
say certain things. Okay. Yeah. Just listen. Okay. Because sometimes when men talk, it can be very slow.
Okay.
Because they need to process it, and then after they process it, then they will just talk. So they will take their time to talk.
Mm.
Okay. And second one, O stand for observe.
Okay.
Okay. Observe. What are we observing?
Mm.
Yeah. Observing the non-verbal behavior. Mm. And if you sometimes when men start to talk, right, they you will see that they have the difficulty, like they want to breathe in or they just take a step back. Maybe this is something that women may need to do, encourage,
Sure.
just to encourage them. Yeah. Or even if that man need a kind of yeah, just a pat of the back or give a hug. Yeah. Okay. And then V stand for validate.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Validate the emotions and as well validate the thoughts.
Okay.
Mm. Yeah. And when men start to talk about their emotions, wow, that's very powerful. Yeah. And that's where this emotional connection comes. Yeah.
Right.
And truly enough, when I ask men, okay, in my sessions, to ask them, okay, to be open and talk about their emotions with their spouses.
Mm.
And when they did it, they say, wow, my wife really listened to me and understand me better.
Nice. And what is the
And
E
then,
stand
of
for?
course, sorry,
What is the
E, express.
express? Okay.
Express your love to your husband
Mm.
based on his love language.
Okay. All right. I'm speeding it up because I think there are some real important questions that we need to answer. So we know what to do with the men, how to support them in their vulnerability. But you would also agree that women, especially because now we have become more independent, we've also become less vulnerable. We have become more powerful, right?
Yes.
What
Mm,
are what are some things that we men can support? How do men support women to be more vulnerable? Because we've
mm,
also been hearing women, y'all are too emotional, so much of drama, be more practical. So we've been having the opposite advice, correct?
mm, mm. Yeah.
How can a man support a woman better to be vulnerable?
Mm, mm. Ben, okay, also same things, need to use this LOVE.
Okay, beyond this, is there anything else
Yeah.
we take?
Other than that, of course, spend more time with the wife, because
Okay.
that is where when they spend more times, okay. And sometimes I find that men's, okay, I realize that men's, when they come to spending more times, okay, the most of the times is the woman who plan it, organize it. Yeah, it's not a man, it's their wife. Yeah, they just follow.
Thank you.
Okay, and
Mm,
for the women to be vulnerable, okay,
mm,
and men's need to support them, yeah, by paying attention to their needs. Okay, even the small actions, okay, knowing your wife love language is very important as well.
mm, mm.
Mm-mm. Yeah,
Nice.
and of
Nice.
course, if you talk about supporting, okay, I mean it can there, be there with your wife, yeah. And sometimes, okay, for myself, right, okay, when we are in the living room, we don't talk to each other.
Mm,
We do our own things, but we
mm,
know that we are there.
mm,
Okay,
mm,
we are
mm,
there in the same household, yeah.
mm.
But we no need to talk to each other, but we know that we are there with
Present.
each other.
Present. Okay.
Mm.
Nice. Thank you. I really liked. I think I really liked the part that you brought up that women are the ones who plan time together activities, right? And that's really asking for the need. Now, there's a question here. Before I have one last question for you, Shamini is asking: is an affair wrong?
Okay, I mean this is about questions that we need to ask ourselves. Okay, is an affair wrong? And sometimes, okay, I mean this is something I would like to be a bit, yeah, different from
Give context.
others.
Sure.
And sometimes when an affair happens, okay,
Mm.
and their relationship between the husband and wife are getting better.
Mm.
Yeah. And they start to know that, oh, something that is really wrong in my relationship, the way how I handle the relationship. They start to learn to appreciate or care or paying more attention to their spouse. Yeah. Mm.
Because is it
If
is
you
it
ask me this
because
question, is an affair wrong? I mean, it depends on you how you see it. Yeah.
yeah, but I want to ask you about this question because you said I have known of relationship that's got better because an affair was uncovered, right? I think we don't have the time, but a lot of affairs also goes, a lot of affairs are uncovered, right? Now, they are not discovered, right? Now, so tell me, so when you say some relationships actually become better, right? Better after the spouse finds out that the partner is having an affair, right? Now, tell me about the shift in mindset that happens for the relationship to be better. Because our immediate reaction is very
Mm-mm.
often, oh, you're having an affair, so that's it, this is the end, right? But obviously, they are having a different mindset for them to
Mm.
have a better relationship. There's a lot of reflection and thinking that's going on. So, listening better and wanting to work in the, perhaps there was just before this, I complain, you don't hear, I have an affair, then you want to listen to me because now I might leave, or I'm happy elsewhere. I don't know what it is. So, what is the mindset shift that happens for that when relationships become better?
Mm-mm. It's the self-awareness,
Okay.
self-reflections. And if you look at it, when an affair happens, is this
Mm,
just one party fault?
mm,
Is this just one party's responsibility?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Then we have to think about it. Okay, either we really unconscious or consciously neglected our partners. Mm-mm. Yeah, and then when we neglected our partners, and then when times come, okay, then when we feel neglected,
mm.
yeah, and that's where the problem come. Okay,
Sure. Nice. So
and
it's
when they start to realize,
basically,
the other partners start to mm, when the other partners start to realize that, oh, Yeah, I'm part of the issues.
Mm.
They will look at what they can do to help
Nice,
this marriage.
nice.
Yeah,
Thank
of course, beginning part they will blame the partners, why you having and why is it so unfair, that kind of stuff. A lot of emotions, kind of struggles,
you.
mm. And they need healing as well.
Mm, mm. Nice, nice. Thank you. I think what you're saying is that I think we come together for a reason. We forget, we get distracted, and we grow apart. When we grow apart, we feel a sense of loss in whatever our needs are, emotional needs are. And when we meet other people in the journey, we can get attracted. And when they meet our emotional need, it has the potential of becoming an affair. All right. And when you recognize that you've
Mm.
walked away, if you want to work on this
Yep.
relationship, then it is part coming back, knowing that we've neglected, our parts in keeping the relationship engaged. We're not engaging in the relationship. Last question, because it's really time up. I'm going to ask this question. What are some? I think the whole idea of why I wanted you is that I think very often, whether you go on TikTok, there's a lot of stuff. There are two types of the information that's coming. One is healing through affairs, growing through affairs, why it happens, helping us to grow as a person. Then there's another big school of thought which says, "Oh, you're having an affair, so you're a bad person. Leave and do this and do that." So there's two widespread of thoughts, right? But very quickly, tell me,
Mm.
what are the some misconceptions about affairs that we have generalized? What are some misconceptions? So that people who are listening, and
Mm.
if you
Mm.
know someone is struggling with it,
Mm.
you can get in touch, because maybe you need to explore and see whether there's another way of thinking about it. All right, tell me the misconceptions.
Mm. Of course, one of the basic kind of very, I mean, general misconception is only men have affair, which is not true.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, because in terms of my work with, I mean, the couples, I see quite a number of cases with involved women, yeah, their wife having affair.
Mm,
Okay, so men's, not only men's have affair. Okay,
mm,
and the other thing is people think that affairs is only for sex, because of sex,
mm.
which is not true lah. Yeah, sometimes
Okay.
this emotional connection with each other. Yeah,
Mm,
okay.
mm.
And the other one I think I want to say is people thought that only unhappy marriage or relationship experience affair, which is not
Okay.
true. Okay. I
Okay.
have couples that they are living happily. Yeah, I mean they enjoy, they go out like a normal couple, they appear to be very happy. In fact, they are living, they say themselves, they thought that they are having a very happy relationship, and why this thing happens. Yeah,
Why?
so don't just think that only unhappy marriage or relationship. Yeah, why?
Yeah, so I mean,
Okay.
that's interesting. I know we're time, but I think this is an interesting one. Because the unhappy marriages, we understand, we know we're unhappy, we know we're seeking something. Okay. Now, why would someone in a happy marriage have an affair?
Okay, one is of course the reason is become bored. They don't want to seek for excitement.
Mm,
Okay, yeah, and it can be, okay, in a happy marriage, because I see some of the couples, I mean, they share with me what they're going through, their children, they're going out, they love each other. I mean, their sex life is okay, yeah, normal, yeah. Appeared to them, they both of them, they thought that their marriage is happy, very happy, but it's just that they want to seek others. They find that sometimes they find that, okay, it's a bit boring. They want to seek some excitement, thrill. Mm, yeah. I mean, sometimes you come, is this the real reasons?
yeah, yeah.
Well,
So could it be that they're not conscious of their needs, and that need is coming out as boredom or wanting excitement? I'm
yes.
asking. I really don't
Like,
know, because I have.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So most of couple who say that they have a happy marriage, right? When I really drill down during the couple sessions, they will find that there are certain unmet emotional needs.
Right.
It's not been addressed.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we touch on the underlying cause.
Right. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. And I really think I suppose that's what we're seeking, isn't it? Because our superficial reason might be something that sounds surface like, right? Like I am happy, everything, I can tick a box of all the happy marriage, we're going out together, we're sleeping together, we share, right? It might tick, but what an affair can uncover is that you may not know yourself well enough, right? And maybe the affair helps you to understand yourself better, right? And I think that's really important. Despite what we people say, a lot of times we may not understand what we're missing out, what we need, because we're not in touch with ourselves. So we are happy, we think we are
Yeah.
happy, but when we're actually not happy. Because I have seen in my experience, right? My friends, I mean, a lot of them are married. The ones who are actually aware of their unhappiness are happier at a deeper level, at a meaningful level, compared to those who seem happy. That's been my experience, and I'm like
Yeah.
cracking my head, because some friends will say, my marriage is not great, and then when I ask them, they it's painful because it's so meaningful that it becomes pain. I want things to be working out this way, so I'm working on it, so I'm engaged, right? Whereas another marriage I see which seems happy, they are ticking the box, right? But the deep connections are missing, right?
Yeah.
And they
Yes.
actually think they are happy. So I see this vast comparison, and and I think it's interesting. All right.
Yeah.
Now, if people want to get in touch with you, we will put Vincent's contact here. Please get in touch with him to have a chat, to really understand a lot more. Because I think the whole idea of Neha says that's so interesting. Out of boredom, people seek excitement. So infidelity can happen in happy marriages. Well, Neha, I hope you heard the second part. I think we're talking about let's dig deep to understand the seed where they are actually seeking, right? Which before we end, right now, what's your understanding of human relationships? Are we capable of being, are we seeking monogamy or polygamy? What's the human nature?
Okay. Okay. I mean, this is a
Do you
very
have an
interesting
answer? Do you have
topic
an
to
answer?
talk about. Yeah. I mean, if you look at it, of course, I mean, different cultures, okay, sometimes it's also based on our own core values, our own belief systems, yeah, yeah, and our
Okay.
expectations.
That means there's no answer. Lah. So, because I'm looking
I
for
mean,
an
some may agree, some may not agree. No, yeah,
Okay, so there's no one answer. Fair enough. So sorry, because it's 107. I'm being rude now. Thank you, Neha, again for the loaded question. So we don't have this whether we are monogamous or not. But that's not the point. It is what we want, what we are seeking, and when we seek long-term committed relationship, we're looking for commitment. When we fail in our commitment, we then seek that love, attention elsewhere, and that eventually makes us cut away from our boundaries and have relationship out of our committed relationship, which then brings about complexity, and that's what we so if you want to heal and come back, we have one expert around here, Vincent Su. Vincent, I really know that I'm going to get in touch with you to do some podcasts, because there's so much to uncover about making relationship work, and you're a great architect to help us build our own home, right? With that, thank you very much. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to leave the audience with?
okay, yeah. I mean, I believe that recover from affair is possible, yeah, and seek help.
Okay.
Authentic self, authentic relationship. Work on yourself first. Know yourself, love yourself, and grow yourself. That's it.
Thank you. So it's really about let's work on ourselves first, and then we will be our authentic self, and then we know how to bring our authentic self into a relationship, and we can shape an authentic relationship. with our partners, is what you're saying. So with that, Vincent, thank you very much. As we say goodbye to Vincent, this is a very, very deep topic, and which is why we brought Vincent to bring about some awareness. We're hoping to bring some podcasts, post this to look at specific topics. So if you have questions, please put on the questions either in this comment, or Kirtana, can you just put our email, one of our emails down? So just give us your questions, or private message, sorry, messages our questions, right? Message your questions to us. We can then do a podcast with Vincent, because this is a very deep topic, right? There's no one right answer, because we don't even know whether we're monogamous. Now, with that, thank you for joining us. Special thanks to Neha. Thank you for joining us today. Candy, I'm so sorry, I just missed yours. Candy, yours brings about a whole new chapter. Yes, marriage in Asia is not just about couples, the in-laws relationship also is a part of the whole game on how healthy it is. And we do know in Malaysia, in-laws are one cause for what do you call it? For divorces to happen. Thank you for that comment. And Shamini, thank you for your comments and your questions. And I think, Gerald, thank you for joining us as usual and supporting us through. With that, thank you very much for giving me 10 minutes extra of your time. This is Mallory signing off from Being Whole, Being Me, Series 86. Till I meet you next week with another interesting yet a lighter topic. Till then, stay safe. Bye.